At this time, I am only asking those board members attending in person to respond with here when I call your name. Alternates, please state your name if you are representing a MPO board representative. As a reminder, please press your microphone button once to turn on and off. Steve Wilson,
Alternate Joaquin Almazan.
Michelle Graw,
Here.
Amy Kelly,
Here.
Tom Markert,
Here.
Susie Diaz is excused, Jim Koretsky, Christopher McVoy,
Here.
Dana Middleton,
Here.
Bev Smith,
Johnny Tish representing Bev.
DeAndre Poole,
Here.
Greg Wise is excused, Joel Flores, Marcy Woodward,
Here.
Sarah Baxter is excused, Bobby Powell,
Here.
Bruce Guyton, Jeff Hamara,
Here.
Christy Fox, Joseph Paduzzi,
Kathleen Ward for Joseph Paduzzi.
Michael Napoleon,
I'm here.
Yvette Drucker. Here. Thank you. We have quorum. For the record, Jim Koretsky joined the meeting.
Do we have anybody participating remotely?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. So we're moving right along. If we can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Staff, are there any modifications to the agenda?
No, Madam Chair.
Do we have any public comments?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, moving right along. So, all right, chair and member comments. Will any board members have any comment on items not already on the agenda?
That are already on the agenda?
Not on the agenda.
I do.
Okay, so we'll recognize Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to bring to everybody's attention, this morning, I have two interns joining me, both Kahim Joseph, who is a student, rising senior at Inlet Grove Community High School, and Jonathan Jones, a sophomore at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia.
Well,
Hey,
Welcome to the MPO.
that's great.
Mayor Middleton.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I just wanted to mention that on Thursday, the Palm Beach Garden City Council unanimously adopted an ordinance for golf cart safety. And we did this ordinance so that golf carts could operate on certain designated public roads within the city of Palm Beach Gardens. And this initiative supports our mobility plan by providing residents an additional transportation option while limiting golf cart operations in areas that were specifically designed to safely accommodate them. So we're in the process of doing some education. We're putting together a plan not only for residents outside the gates, but also within the gates and in HOAs, and giving them guidance and support. So I just wanted to share that with everybody. It's now on our website. If anybody has any questions or anything, I'm happy to answer them for you. So, but wanted to share.
Thank you for that. Mr. McVoy?
Yeah, this is only perhaps indirectly related to transportation, but it is related to transportation. I'm concerned that taxpayer funds are being used by Florida Highway Patrol not to make the highways safer, but they're all over the county, especially in my city, doing immigration work. And that is not what our taxpayers were intended for Highway Patrol. And presumably, if they're doing immigration work, they're not doing highway protection.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any comments? Okay, so a couple of things. I had the opportunity to attend the National League of Cities last month in Washington, DC. Some of our fellow board members that are here today joined us up in congressional meetings with Florida League of Cities, and we had some really productive conversations. We had the opportunity to meet with the gentleman, and his name escapes me right now, but who does all the grants, like 90% of the grants that come from the US DOT. Deputy Mayor Grau joined us there from Boca Raton. So really good meetings. Obviously, the build grants just came out. Last week they were announced. West Palm Beach got a nice grant. Our sister counties, Miami, did as well. So a lot of advocacy. And of course, I always advocate for rail funding anytime that I get in front of individuals like that. So a very good visit. Please continue to monitor, at least I'm going to be monitoring the reauthorization bill for infrastructure and how they fund the state and the money that comes directly to the county. That has to be reauthorized by September 30th. And what they did is that they added a water component. So now they have like the water, drinking water component to the reauthorization bill. It's a bipartisan bill. So hopefully we're monitoring that. I know Valerie and I have been monitoring all of that. I also had the opportunity to participate in the panel. Thank you to the TPO and Miami-Dade, to Eileen Buckley and her staff, an incredible Safe Streets Summit panel discussion that we had on elected officials, our role to pass policy that effectuates change on pedestrianism and multimodal options. So an incredible panel, and thank you for having me a few weeks ago as well. So those are the comments. We'll move right along, and I'll turn it over to our fearless leader, Ms. Niels, for the Executive Director's report.
Great. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our alternates who've joined us today. I wanted to point out we've just completed fiscal year 2026. We work on the federal and the state year. So we do have an annual report at the front. So please take one or a couple if you'd like on your way out. If you didn't grab one on your way in, it's also available online. We are also partnering with the City of Palm Beach Gardens on August 5th for a helmet fitting training. So if you have any staff or anyone you know that would like to become a certified helmet fitter, that will be a training that's being offered in Palm Beach Gardens. Just a reminder, I sent an email, but there is a MPOAC Institute training being held in Gainesville on August 12th. If it's of interest of anyone, if a board member is looking to be on the executive committee or serve in a chair or vice chair role and hasn't done the training within the last 4 years, this satisfies that requirement. They usually host it every spring and fall. And then we are also hosting a webinar on September 3rd with national and Florida experts on e-bike and micromobility best practices. We're going to be developing some model language to serve as hopefully a starting point for our local municipalities. I know this has come up a lot. So that's on September 3rd. I hope you guys can join us. It should be interesting and or your staff for that. And then just a reminder, also on the front table, we have the 5E toolkit that we developed with some strategies, resources, actions that our communities can do to improve safety using the 5Es of education, engineering, encouragement, evaluation, and enforcement. And then there's the Bloomberg Initiative for Cycling Infrastructure funding opportunity that's available through September 14th. And just a reminder, the countywide transportation master plan is going on, and there's been some recent opportunities for public engagement and workshops. So for more information, please visit their website. And again, just a reminder to get involved and participate in our activities as well. And I have just a couple quick slides. I'm going to ask Ruth to click through them just to give you a little overview of our annual report. Go ahead. So again, it's on the front table. And it highlights some of the highlights from this past year, including, again, how much money we prioritize in collaboration with the Department of Transportation in our transportation improvement program. In total, that's about 255 projects. The ones that we directly prioritize are just over 50, but we work with them on our entire state road system and federal projects funded in this county. From our priorities, there's over 36 miles of ped bike facilities that are prioritized in the next 5 years, so that's exciting. We supported 11 local municipalities in the county with grant funding. The grant that our Chair Drucker just mentioned for the City of West Palm Beach, we provided a letter of support for that, the $5 million build grant for the City of West Palm. So, and that's actually to restore the historic Seaboard Station at where Tri-Rail and Amtrak are here in West Palm Beach. So Thank you all for applying for these discretionary grants. It's really exciting to see everyone getting Safe Streets for All grants and different grants out there. Next. And so again, I'm not going to go into every detail about, but this just highlights some of the things that happened in this last fiscal year, our outreach events, our online tutorials that we created for our engagement, our tools that we have online. We provided more than 28 presentations in the community about the MPO and how to get involved in working with our community transportation projects, and also developed a survey in Spanish, Creole, and English online. We had other surveys, but we created another one, and that was really helpful too. So we got 155 responses for that. Just in general, asking the community, how can we improve transportation? What are concerns you have in your community? And so that really helps us because we can then relay those comments to the right entity or look into them further. Next. We had several planning initiatives. Again, I won't go into detail on all of them, but thank you. I want to thank everyone, our staff and everyone who participated in these initiatives. And again, more information if you look at our annual report. Go ahead. And again, prioritized funding is one of the key things we do. So actually there's a picture up at the top with Commissioner Ward and Brian from our staff from one of the school walk audits that happened for our Safe Routes to School Action Plan. But this just kind of provides an overview of all the funding in the Transportation Improvement Program and what that funding is heading towards. Next. And some of the projects that are underway, upcoming in this new fiscal year, and in the new from this last fiscal year in the Transportation Improvement Program. And then again, we did a lot of collaboration with our partners. I just want to thank our board again for participating in the site visits. We went to BEEP headquarters in Orlando to learn about autonomous vehicles. We went to the Underline in Miami. We also did 4 mobile tours and had a lot of participation. And we were in Palm Beach Gardens, the City of West Palm Beach, Boca, and at Palm Beach County at the Traffic Operations Center. So it was really great to get members of the community, our board members, and our committees to participate and get to know our transportation system more, and just it's been really a great year. Next. And so lastly, our last goal as minister of the agency, we provided we had over 52 folks between our board members and staff and different training opportunities and workshops and things that we did in this last year. So thank you all for your participation in those. And I have, I think, one more slide. And just to kind of recap it all, we met all of our strategic plan goals. Really proud of our staff and our agency because we had a clean external audit again, no findings. We have to be evaluated by FDOT every year and then by the feds every couple of years. But we had our certification and that was approved, low risk. And we also had the Federal Highway Administration approve our 2-year grant, our Unified Planning Work Program for the next 2 years. So that's just a recap, and that's my last slide for the annual report. Hope you grab a copy on your way out.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Nielsen on the executive report? Mayor Hamara?
The one comment I have is the timing is absolutely perfect for that MPO annual report. As we're building our budget, not too surprisingly, the question that's asked and responsibly so is, so what's the value in belonging to some of these associations, the MPO not being the only one that question is being posed to. And of course, having that annual report will, and I will take enough copies with me so I can distribute them tonight at our council meeting to make sure that there are facts in front of folks that can understand the value of and importance of the MPO and what we do. But also just to remind everybody that the countywide transportation master plan is still a work in progress. You have an opportunity as actually 4 public meetings that were just completed, provided for more input. And so at the end of the day, I don't want to be one who says, you know, I wish I had said, I would rather be one to say, well, at least I got my input in and hopefully had an influence on it. So I suggest you all take a look at pbcmoves.com and see what's there. And make sure that you don't miss. Friday is the deadline, I think, for the next input. Don't miss that deadline. It is an opportunity to express your opinion. And it doesn't have to be an in-depth kind of a thing. It's just a concern that you might want to express again and again and again to make sure that it is considered as part of this really important project, which, by the way, is a change in behavior that we're looking at right now. I mean, we're working closer with the county right now on a cross-cutting issue than I have seen in the 14 years I've been on council. So I praise everybody for that work, and I encourage us to continue with it. So thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Koretsky?
Yeah, just following up on that, I did want to just give some feedback about the county transportation master plan, and given this feedback, I want to just emphasize that I don't believe it's being done in the manner that the county commission expected. I really appreciate this plan. As an engineer, it just is an incredible undertaking. And I knew that it couldn't have possibly humanly been done under the original schedule. And so I'm grateful for I understood the intent was. And I try to keep telling our staff at the town, that the intent is still pure, but we're not getting that feeling. And I just want to share that our staff has been very participant and has given input when surveys have been asked of them. They've got together as a team to ask them, which I think is the most appropriate way to do it. And then I've engaged a few times as a member of the Issues Forum. You know, I had given input actually in writing and a couple months back. And then when the latest version came out, I noticed in the input I gave, which was representing the town and our staff, showed up in the first issue and it was not amended. So I sent another email letter off asking, I'm not hearing anything, and so still haven't heard anything. And I know that, our head of our issues forum has asked that question, like, what is the feedback loop? So I mean, at least someone could get back. I mean, I'm speaking on behalf of the town as a mayor, and I say that not with someone with an ego because I'm mayor, but if they don't answer the mayor, they're not answering our staff, and they're not. Further, I'd say, so I went online and to the survey in addition to the letter, and I said, well, I'm going to put in the survey under the comments, which you have to keep under 2,000 word letters. And I did, which was mostly what I had in my email. And then when you get to the survey questions, I thought it was interesting because I think the questions and the limited responses are quite biased, honestly. And so I tried not to answer some of the questions where I felt there wasn't an appropriate answer to do. And like many programs, it doesn't let you. You have to answer them. So it kind of forced me to answer the best answer, but really was not consistent with positions. I just wanted to share that. I don't share that as a complaint, but just as an awareness, right? So it's disappointing, but we're not giving up. We appreciate the effort. We're going to keep plugging to the end. And really, it's not about just that. It's what we do with it, right? So I just feel compelled to have shared that I don't believe that really taking into account municipality input, it's disappointing. I know it's not consistent with county commissioners' expectations. And so what better forum than for me to share it than here?
Maybe we could ask one of the commissioners, who should he reach out to, or can you make sure that someone responds to the mayor on his, nothing is more annoying than if you take the time to provide feedback and there's no response, even if they don't agree with you. I think that a response is required. So Commissioner Woodward, do you have something to say?
Yes, good morning, everyone. I guess I would say I will look into to that request to make sure that your input was in there. I know I attended a meeting. I think it was it last week? Okay. Yes, last week in Boynton. It was a pitiful turnout, honestly. More than half the people in the room were staff, or city county staff. It was, that we were the ones who were all interested. I think, I don't know, maybe a dozen regular citizens showed up, and one yelling at us saying that we don't need sidewalks, which I thought was interesting. And so the feedback is all over the place. They are still taking in all of the feedback. They're going into a lot of different ways. The survey is a part of it. They haven't delivered any finals. It's very much a work in progress. So if you're not seeing something that you want, I mean, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to help make sure that that gets in there, but nothing's baked yet. I mean, they're still very much adding ingredients. They're not even kind of putting the cake together. So it's every ingredient is being added. But what I believe from what I took from the presentation was it's going to be a lot of different options that get presented to all of us, and it's going to be a menu, like a pick and choose. And even one of the more fascinating parts that I saw, that was the first time I had seen, was the ability to take a road, if you have 80 feet of road to work with, and what's your goal? Like, do you want to do more, pedestrian, walking? Is this a thoroughfare? And what kind of trees? And it had a whole menu of different options that any of us can choose. If it's one of your downtown roads, or if it's more of where school zone's going to be. It's just options that really give us the ability to look at it from, you can put 10-foot increments, and those are the deliverables that we're going to get, that actually cities, smaller, larger, for planning purposes. And that's really what a lot of this is about, is the planning of the future, because we are developing, redeveloping. We're not developing everywhere. We got a big no yesterday. Hello. But anyway, but as this moves along, it's part about the future. How do we move people along with the planning and the development that's on the books and what's coming? So I think if anyone was expecting, hey, this intersection is going to be top of the list to be done, that was not my expectation of this plan. I can't speak for all 7 commissioners, but I did not want them to come in and tell us, you need to build this road there, this intersection here. It was about helping us all together, 39 cities and the county, formulate our priorities, and each individual area, each city gets to do your priorities, and then together, what's the best way to move people and plan for what's coming? Because people are moving here, businesses are moving here. How do we do all of that together? So I would just say, for myself, I didn't expect them to come in and tell us what to do. And it's certainly not about us telling each other what to do. It's about us sharing with each other what we would like to do. And then how do we do all of that moving forward? So for myself, I would not say I'm disappointed yet, just because they're still putting it together. And it's a messy process. If you've tried to take a poll in this room, we're going to have probably 5 different priorities right here that we would argue over. 39 cities plus the county. It's going to be really hard to get all that together. I would challenge any of you to get a unanimous vote on your own board on a top priority for your city. It's very difficult, and you're adding all of us together. So I would just maybe try to lower the expectation of having this beautiful little presentation of, here's the 10 things we're going to do. It's not about that. It's about giving us the ability to plan for ourselves. I'm sorry, I'm a little tired if I rambled too long, but that's the end of that. So
I'm cutting you off. No, it's just kidding. I've got, Commissioner Powell, do you want to comment? Then I'll go to.
Mayor, thank you for your comments. If you could maybe have somebody from your team put in writing your concerns, and I'll have somebody from my team reach out as well. The survey question is always a challenge, because I've been on those sites where you like to enter something or skip a question and you're not allowed to. So that's important to us. And then any way we can contact the team for you, let us do it. Vice Mayor Woodward, one of the things that was also brought up at the meeting was, in terms of participation, towards the end, one of the community members got up and indicated that they did not know about the meeting. They found out at the last minute, and there's a community of people who would have liked to have been there. So, it's a lot that's involved. We would definitely, I believe that public participation is absolutely necessary. So whatever we can do to kind of help alleviate and mitigate, to be helpful, because this involves not only all of Palm Beach County in terms of unincorporated, but we're talking about municipalities. And like Vice Mayor Woodward said, it's hard to get everybody on the same page, but we need to hear everybody's comments and concerns so that we're moving, at least with negotiating, so that we can move in the same direction. So thank you for that.
Mayor Hamera.
Thank you. Just to kind of follow up with this. One of the questions I'd asked right at the very beginning, speaking of input, that I really haven't felt has really been substantially responded to was put yourself on the user end of your products, deliverables. What would you expect, in my case, the municipality to do with what you're giving us? And unfortunately, talk about not getting a response on things. That's one I have not gotten a response, and it really disappoints me on a number of levels. I mean, the good news is we've got a couple of input mechanisms, right? The Board of County Commissioners, you guys are running the project. It's yours. You funded it. You get the reports on a regular basis. We also have this intergovernmental coordination program that has some of you also involved in it. That's a great thing. I'm a firm believer in the more people that are actually presenting input, the better chances are that it will actually have an impact and an influence. So we have at least two major areas, venues, mechanisms with which to provide that input. But honestly, I take a step back from this whole thing and say, first of all, the fact that we're working together well on something that is important across the county is a major step in the right direction. Secondly, it's going to require a shift in attitude about how to go about dealing with the growth that we're having and the transportation needs that we have. We're taking a step in that direction, regardless of what the outcome is here. We're taking a step in that direction, but we got to keep after it. And again, I'm looking at it saying, well, what am I going to do with this product? And my answer right now is we currently don't have a mobility plan in Royal Palm Beach, and we've talked about doing it for a number of years. I see this as a positive incentive, an impulse, a reason to go ahead and sit down and actually do that. And with the input from micromobility kind of considerations, so all of these things that are going on, timing is perfect. And so I'm more positive about this than maybe when I look at the details of what we have offered and the responses we've gotten probably justify, but I just think it's a huge step in the right direction. We just need to stay after it, I believe. So thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Anybody else?
Can I say something? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Ms. Nilsson.
From the MPO's perspective, we've worked pretty closely providing throughout, we've had meetings, we have another one today actually with the consultant, but providing our input. Haven't necessarily seen, like Commissioner Woodward or Vice Mayor Woodward said, it's not done yet. So I haven't necessarily seen the, the final results. But one of our concerns has been that the MPO in collaboration with the state, our plans, our long-range plan, the transportation improvement program dictates what happens on the state system and where the federal funding projects go. So one of our concerns has been that the transit and mobility vision and projects that we have in our pipeline aren't necessarily reflected, and sometimes there's conflicting like proposed ideas of what we've seen. So that's kind of one of our concerns, because ideally this plan would build off the network that's already basically proposed, happening and adopted by the feds and by the state, and build off that to include the county's desires, the local municipality desires. So that's just, we've provided a lot of feedback and a lot of comments. I'm going to send I'll write that more formally in a letter just to make sure, hopefully that our plans are incorporated, because we want to hear the additional ideas and feedback, but it should be like in addition to, versus kind of starting from scratch on the state and federal system. I think that ultimately this is a huge, I guess, a huge effort to try to get everybody like on the same page. So hopefully this plan isn't, I think the fear of some folks might be that it's prescriptive. Once the Board of County Commissioners adopts it, it's like, this is what is going to happen. And I think it's more of this is what was collected, what we all heard from, but it's a work in progress to continue building off. So I just wanted to share that.
Mayor Koretsky.
Yeah, I just want to close with just emphasizing again, mostly, especially to our county commissioners, that, I feel, and, the county staff has been phenomenal. We really do have a great working relationship. So I have every confidence. They were copied on my email. So quite frankly, I would hope after a month and a half, whatever it's been since the first one, is going to be addressed. I just, I haven't heard yet. And this is more of a critique on the consultant company, quite frankly, because I believe staff of the county, engineering staff, whatever, agrees with the inputs we're doing and shares the same values. And just so you know, my expectation is I was not expecting that per se Jupiter's going to get, all their items listed. But my expectation of this was going to be a menu. And so if I'm seeing what I believe to be significant menu items left off, then, it doesn't deliver what I would have expected. So I never expected like it's going to rank and all that, but it's a menu that when it gets back to the county commissioner and all of us, we're now seeing, and somehow it can be prioritized and we can feel like, we're addressing all of it in some manner, in some priority manner, but no pieces missed. So I just want to be clear about that. But again, there's certain aspects work. It's a phenomenal effort. I said that when I started off. So, I didn't know how I myself, if I was involved in this, how you'd ever bring it to a conclusion. But, to the degree that at some point in time it is come to a conclusion, I didn't want it to end up there. And then someone says, well, gee, Jim, you never spoke up that you weren't happy with where it was heading. So that was the intent from my comments. Thank you.
I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, so last week, a few of us were at that meeting that we attended in Boynton Beach, and there was not a lot of participants from the community. I think that I've shared this concern with Ms. Nielsen. I've spoken about this, is the county has to make sure that the federal and the state funding aligns, not only the funding, but the way that they prioritize the network with what the plan is, because our projects are approved, as everyone knows, years out. So if those two bodies are not really talking to each other, there's going to be a major disconnect. And there's things that we just can't do from a federal or a state funding mechanism. So that was a concern that we had last month. And then because they weren't including the MPO, and I thought that, well, that's really not the way we should be doing that. So I'm glad that Ms. Nielsen has been meeting with them and she's been giving the input. And I think that was one of the major concerns that I had, just because of the way we plan and prioritize our projects. Like, everyone has to talk to each other. In terms of the municipalities, there's cities that are very, very small. So they're not like Boca Raton. We're so way in advance in terms of our mobility. We have our Vision Zero work plan coming before us soon. I can't get into it because of Deputy Mayor sits with me here, but there's a lot of things that we're already in motion, but in other cities are just at the starting point. So I got the same thing. It's like a menu of, this is what we have. This is gathering everybody's data. So I think patience is important throughout this process. So thank you for that. Couple of things that I wanted to go over before we head on to consent agenda. If you haven't attended the MPOAC Institute, Mayor Napoleone and I attended 2 months ago. I had done it already prior, but I did it again in person, and really interesting to go to that. If anybody can participate, reach out to Ms. Nielsen. We'll send you up to Gainesville. And again, to be able to be on the executive board or chair or vice chair of the MPO, you have to have that training under your belt. Lastly, I just want to give a big shout out to our fearless leader, Ms. Nielsen, for leading us this last fiscal year. This is a big agency and everything runs pretty smoothly. I believe that we're running a tight ship here. Staff, thank you so much. Anything we ever need is delivered to us, and any questions that we have and preparing. And Ms. Nielsen, you've done a tremendous job always preparing, at least for me, because she prepares me when I go out, when I go to panels, anything, just so that we're representing Palm Beach County and representing strong. So I want to take a moment to thank everyone in the room, that staff, for your efforts this last year. And you know how I always say the best is yet to come, and I believe that. So with that, we're going to move on to consent agenda. Any board member want to remove an item from the consent agenda? Okay. Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second, Kelly.
Woodward first, Kelly second. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, consent agenda passes. Now we move on to action items. We're going to go to 2A, motion to adopt the fiscal year 2028 to 2032 list of priority projects, LOOP. And I invite Brian Richet, Deputy Director of Multimodal, to present. The floor is yours.
Morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Brian Rusher, Deputy Director of Multimodal here at the MPO, to present item 2A, our fiscal year 2028 to 2032 list of priority projects. We just adopted, and we are currently under the fiscal year 27 to 2031 Transportation Improvement Program. That was adopted at our last meeting. That's what we're currently under. This list of priority projects that you see today will be for next year's Transportation Improvement Program. So this is our wish list of funding that we have for projects that are upcoming that we've identified with our partners and that we are seeking for your motion to adopt today. To give you a little bit of an explainer of what the list of priority projects is, this is our formal priority project list that we send to FDOT that they build their work program from. As I had mentioned before, we are under the fiscal year 27 Transportation Improvement Program, or TIP, and our new 5th year that we are trying to add projects in will be for next fiscal year's Transportation Improvement Program, fiscal year 28 to 32. So this is the projects that are going in towards the back of the line. They're prioritized in year and rank based on the MPO scoring criteria. And as a reminder, this is a new 5th year, so these projects don't actually have money yet. That we are requesting their money to be allocated to them in the future years so that they are able to start and get going. Why this is important and why we have a 5-year program and a long-term funding strategy for a new 5th year is to maintain work program stability. So you all know transportation projects are the fastest project that can get done in government. But in all seriousness, there are multiple phases that might have to be done with a transportation project. Everything from planning, programming, project environment development and environmental, all the design work, the utility work, environmental work, and then the construction itself all take time to do. So we have a list of projects with different phases that bring those projects forward over time. And there are certain rules and requirements that we have to abide by for different phases. For example, FDOT has a policy that if you are going to enter that project development and environmental study, you have to have funding identified within 8 years, and you have to complete that phase of study within 18 months. So there are certain time requirements that are at play for some of our projects. Some projects also move much faster than others. So if you have a sidewalk project, traffic calming, a safety project through transportation alternatives, those projects might start just at design and they move within 3 to 5 years. So those projects are easier. They might have different phases programmed and be eligible for different funding. We work with FDOT on this very closely. We have weekly meetings with FDOT where we receive updates on our projects that we've prioritized, as well as generally quarterly meetings on how our project funding is going when we receive cost estimates for projects, and we update that list in projects as we go along. So what does it look like to develop this 5-year program plus 1 year? Well, we started this agenda item really back in winter and spring with our project development cycle, where we had a call for projects. In October, we adopted our scoring criteria that we would bring projects into from our long-range transportation plan and our call for projects with our local jurisdictions. So we have projects that are from both of those, as from the LRTP, as well as from our member jurisdictions and municipalities in this list. What we are now is that we have gone through, we have vetted those projects with FDOT. We have looked at them in the field. We have put our eyes, ears, and our feet on the ground to go out and see them. FDOT has given us letters for the projects that they have deemed eligible for the funding, and they're asking us to prioritize those projects, which is what we are at today with the LOPP. The project list is broken up into 2 major projects and transportation alternatives. The next steps that you are going to see with respect to these projects comes in December, where we're going to get what's called the draft tentative work program. That's going to be FDOT's output from this process and our request to them. They will give us a list of projects that they think that money will be able to be prioritized for based on the available anticipated funding in that new 5th year. And then from that, we will provide comments to them in December. We will make recommendations to them, and they will come back to us in May, and then again in June with our transportation improvement program. So it's a long process. It takes about 2 years to fully develop that new 5th year, but that's why we're always working on projects. That's why we have a constant meeting, update, and progress reports with FDOT in our cities and our county on projects that we've prioritized funding for. As a reminder, and maybe a preview for upcoming governing board meeting, our MPO funding programs are broken up into 2 separate pots that we prioritize anticipated available funding for. On the left is the major projects category, where we anticipate about $23.8 million a year to prioritize. The funding range for those projects varies from $500,000 to about $5 million. This is eligible for federal aid roads within the urbanized area. So we prioritize that money specifically for roads within the urbanized area that are of a certain classification above, typically arterials and your collectors, your bigger roads. That's a larger pot of money. They should be going towards the larger roadways. And for improvements such as capacity, safety, pedestrian and bicycle facilities, transit capital, as well as freight facilities. Our smaller pot of funding is called transportation alternatives. We anticipate about 5.1 million annually to prioritize funding for projects that vary from 250,000 to 1.5 million. This is eligible for projects within the urbanized area, but also can be applied to more local roads. So these are more like the sidewalk projects, the traffic calming improvements, the safe routes to school facilities, and then other pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure. And as a reminder, we plan for the entire county, but we do prioritize funding for the urbanized area through these programs. So to the first project list that you see, and as I said before, some projects move faster, some projects move slower. Some projects have funding requests and needs that we have to prioritize and work with FDOT. So the first three at the top of the list are projects that we have actually prioritized through the governing board in prior years that are ready for their next phase of funding. So those top three are from previous years, and then below that we have 10 additional projects that we are seeking funding for. As I said before, the major funding request is about 24 million. And we have about $77.8 million in requests for this program. So there is a substantial oversubscription, which is good. We like to show that FDOT, we are oversubscribing so that if there is any available money, for example, that other areas haven't used, that we want to try to pull at because we have these needs, then our governing board is giving them direction to try to use that money here locally in Palm Beach County. Additionally, we have 8 transportation alternatives projects that came in this year. That was a very competitive program for this funding pot at a total of $11 million of the about 5.1 million that's going to be available for programming. So with that, we did not receive any public comments from our review period of June 24th to July 16th. This was available online, distributed through our newsletter and our website, and we are actively, of course, seeking any adoption of the list of priority projects for 28 to 32 with that in mind. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Staff, do we have any public comments?
No, Madam Chair.
Do any board members have any comments or questions? Mayor Koretsky, you're recognized.
Well, first of all, I support what's proposed, but I think it is related to just bring this up. You know, we're very, and I'm sure many people are very supportive of, you know, enhanced traffic signalization technologies being deployed. And with the exception of a couple of large municipalities, the county does that for everybody. And I'm well familiar with that, or I shouldn't say well familiar with it. I am familiar with it. And I know that they've done a trial implementation that we're all waiting to see, you know, what the results is, because if it's successful, we're all wanting to be, you know, in the line to get it and, you know, done, implemented within the town, and I'm sure a lot of other municipalities. But I just want to make the point that that's the one project, traffic signalization, again, with the exception of a couple of municipalities that do it themselves. That's the one project that's really at a high program level, but we never really get to be in the loop on it. And that isn't a complaint, it's just an awareness, because it's coming out in the, certainly in the county transportation plan, right? It's an important item. And just think, I don't know how to do it differently, but I just think maybe a different process. Because the town would like to be as participatory as we can with the county. And I bet a bunch of other municipalities would be as well if that technology could be brought sooner. You know, it's costly when you think about how the scale of it, but it's implemented in really one by one, you know, one road. And I'm not sure if it ever advances to the level that we truly have ever given it the priority it deserves. So I just want to have kind of emphasized that. I do see that Boca has been making progress on that. Quite frankly, I perceive more than maybe we're getting elsewhere. And I mean as a compliment, but anyway, I'm just asking particularly the county commissioners here, you know, that we'd like to be participants, and that's really important. And it seems to be coming out like that. Everybody agrees to it, but it has never been looked at as a program. So I don't think our county engineer's budget has ever really recognized it's a program that needs to be done, and then you would prioritize it and you would advance it as a program. It's really, it seems to me like it's been piecemeal, and that's not a criticism, but I think we have to change how we've been doing business to make that happen sooner.
Thank you for any other comments on the plan? Anyone else? Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'm seeking a motion to adopt the fiscal year. Um, First by Mayor Napoleone, and I heard Woodward second. All right, so all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? All right, the
Nay.
motion passes. Oh, sorry. You have to do roll call?
No, we do have a nay or possibly two from West Palm.
Nay, due to the inclusion of state roads.
Oh, we have an A, I'm sorry. Recognize Commissioner Fox as an A and Commissioner. I'm sorry, is there anybody else? Just Commissioner Fox? I think Commissioner Fox is a no. Any other no's? McFoy? Okay. All right. Thank you, thank you. The motion still passes, I think, because we have a majority. All right, so moving right along to B, motion to adopt the fiscal year 2027 strategic plan. You're staying up there, go ahead and present.
Once again, Brian Rusher, Deputy Director for Multimodal. Proud to present the 2027 strategic plan. So as Executive Director presented, we had an annual report, which was very successful. We are looking forward to 2027 as a very exciting year and a very progress-driven year where we're going to be doing a lot of work with our municipalities and our county on these specific items. Just as a reminder, this is not a federal or state requirement. This is a best practice to adopt a strategic plan to highlight the work that you are going to be accomplishing, put a little bit of extra attention and love into these emphasis areas as they are priorities, goals, and key initiatives that we're going to be working on as an agency. These align with our Unified Planning Work Program, which we just adopted. We are also under a new grant with FHWA. So the projects from the strategic plan are derived from the Unified Planning Work Program as well. So I wanted to run through those with you. This is a specific, to that Unified Planning Work Program. So there are 4 goals that I will get through with you today. First, engage and collaborate. As we had a successful year getting out, and we look forward to many events that are already on the books in the coming months and weeks. We are going to be conducting outreach events and participating in outreach events with our partners, up to 6. We will also be conducting 4 transportation-oriented mobile tours this year as well, along with 2 partner agency site visits. Those are specific to either transportation modes or jurisdictions or districts that we really want to place a special emphasis on. We'll additionally be seeking to present 20 times to our community about the MPO's role, what we do, and specific initiatives from the MPO. Goal 2 is a short-term plan the system. So this is more immediate planning actions that we're going to be taking. First and foremost is to complete 2 multimodal corridor studies. So you are aware of our US 1 multimodal corridor study, our Okeechobee Boulevard multimodal corridor study, and State Road 7. We will be conducting 2 additional corridor studies this year that will build off of projects that have been completed in the FDOT work program and projects that are aligning with what our local jurisdictions would like to see implemented for our major state highway system. We will also be completing a land use and economic development report, which will look at our entire premium transit network that will identify the potential jobs, parking, economic revenue from those jobs and residential units that we can build along our premium transit network. This is very closely tied to how Miami-Dade County has looked at the SMART program, and other areas are looking at transit networks as facilitators for economic development. It's really a national best practice. We'll be completing 4 walk audits and supporting 3 communities with local studies such as mobility plans, safety studies, pedestrian and bicycle studies. So if you have an urgent need for planning assistance, we do provide that to our agencies and our local localities. Longer term planning, this is more of like the how we get people engaged and how we think about things in the long term. First thing that we wanted to do is really think about all of the work that we have done here at the MPO all of the work that's been done in the long range transportation plan and the CTMP and others, and really bring that work to our communities to get a major project integration update for our planning projects. So we're going to take those projects, those maps, all the community data that we have, go and meet individually, one-on-one with all of your jurisdictions and talk to them about their project needs and analysis. We hope what we will get out of this is a really well-refined project list and maps from each jurisdiction. So we have a better understanding, and when we reach out to our communities about funding programs, we can very specifically say, hey, we think that this project is a good one for you to apply to this year. We believe it would be competitive. So please consider, putting that application in. We also have seen a number of transportation trends that we wanted to highlight, and some of our other partner agencies have put together a transportation trends online dashboard. So we will be publishing that as well. This will have things like multimodal data, community health data, mobility data, all in one central one-stop shop, and that will be published this year. We're going to be partnering with a digital twin, one of our municipalities on a digital twin to do some scenario planning as part of a mobility plan. We're very excited about that. This builds off of the Think Bike workshop where we had Synexus come and present to us about what their digital twin and modeling tool looks like. So we're going to use that as part of the development of a local plan, and we'll produce a report of that effort that will show some of the highlights and needs and possibilities for how we could change how we work using this new technology tool. And of course, producing a freight and resiliency analysis. This is kind of an emerging topic area from the FHWA. So we're going to produce a assessment that will be incorporated into the long range transportation plan, and we'll have projects with respect to each jurisdictional reach out. We did get some interest from committee members about this specifically from some of your jurisdictions. So we're excited to be aligning with the city needs and the county needs on that work. With respect to administering an agency, last goal here, providing additional trainings and continuing our accessibility for website and documents to ensure that we have best practices in place, as well as for file management standards. And of course, every year you will see a really well-produced annual report from our team, led by Carly, our Public Involvement Officer, to ensure that you know that what we're doing is aligning with what your people and your visitors and your workers all need. So with that, I'd like to seek a motion to adopt the fiscal 2027 strategic plan.
Thank you. Are there any comments, public comments?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, so I'll recognize Commissioner Fox.
Thank you so much for the presentation. And I just also wanted to mention that the report card from last year is online, and I just want to compliment everyone on the team for being able to hit all of the strategic plan goals from the last year and exceeding them. And so thank you for all the work on that, and look forward to the next year. Thanks.
Commissioner Ward?
Thank you so much. And I just had a question on, because obviously I participated in one of the school walks, and just for anybody else here, if there's one happening in your area, I highly encourage you to participate. It was very enlightening. And I don't say that sarcastically. I know it's a lot of engineers and planners, but it was thoroughly enlightening for me. So when you do those audits, what's the next step afterwards? And how do each of the municipalities or the counties kind of lean into that process to make sure that what you find during those audits are then somewhat implemented within the areas?
It's a great question. And again, thank you for participating in that walk bike safety audit, actually taking your e-bike to it. We really appreciate you, riding by multimodal mode and then weathering the rain on that day. What we do is we produce a really brief report, and that report is in production right now for each school. And we bring that back to the stakeholders that were present or couldn't make the individual day and to see and to hear. And what we will do with that report is kind of detail a little bit of the cost estimates, provide a visual for some of the things that we talked about in the audit exercise, and report back to the municipal jurisdiction. So it kind of brings together multiple strategic plan items when you think about it. We have these walk audit reports that we want to meet with the city of West Palm about, but we also have other efforts and initiatives that we've talked about for, in the priority projects list, we had Fern Street, Okeechobee Boulevard. So we want to go out and meet with our cities to talk with them about those audit reports, the other projects that they've identified over time. And really bring it together and to say like, hey, what projects work well for each list, and is our LRTP current with all of the work that's been done over time? Because we want the city to concur with the report of that school walk audit too. We want them to say, yes, we will start working on some of the findings and recommendations out of that as well. So that meeting should occur within the next month or two as we wrap up the report.
Any other questions before we get ready to call a motion for the strategic plan? Right, can I get a motion? Mayor Napoloni motions to adopt, and can I get a
Second.
second? Mayor Middleton, I saw. All those in favor to adopt the 2027 strategic plan, say aye. Any opposition? Okay, the motion passes. All right, so next we've got information items. I want to invite, I'm not sure if I can pronounce this last name. What? Do you need anything? Ms. Nielsen? Okay, we wasn't here for that. Okay. I would like to invite Katina Kavakilis, Turnpike Planning Manager, to present the item. And if you could teach me how to say that last name.
It's
I
Cavacles, Cavacles.
Kavakilis. Okay, well, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. This is more of educational, informational. Flores Turnpike Enterprise is in your backyard, obviously. We have the privilege of being part of DOT. We're in all 7 districts, but you are one of our 21 counties. And so we're doing a lot of construction. And so we have one of our lead project managers here, Carlos Estrada, here to give you an update on what's happening on your facilities and in your neighborhoods. So, we did make a presentation 2 nights ago to the county. It was a long meeting then too, and that's okay. It was very informative. We learned a lot about local governance at that time.
It's always good.
So we're going to make a brief presentation so that way everybody knows what we're doing in your backyard. But with that, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you for being here, Mr. Estrada.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Again, my name is Carlos Estrella, and Estrella and Estrada, they do sound quite similar, but since I correct my kids, they would like me to say it correctly as well. So I'm a consultant to Florida's Turnpike, and I am a program manager for those projects that are in design. As you heard earlier, the same presentation was provided to the county, to the Palm Beach County Board of County Commissioners 2 days ago, and we wanted to make sure that we share the same presentation and resource with all of our local partners. So that's why we're here today. Joining me are multiple members of the Turnpike team. I won't introduce each one. I may actually butcher a last name or two. So they will help me in answering any questions you may have at the end of the presentation. Feel free to interrupt me if you would like a question answered as I'm going through it. But let's proceed. And there we go. This morning, we're going to provide you with a brief overview of the Enterprises widening program within the county. And we're going to also present the locations, although in a shortened version from what we presented 2 days ago, of where roadside walls are proposed along the county. This is a topic that has been of interest to many of your constituents, so we wanted to make sure that you had the information. The enterprise continues to make significant investments in the county. These investments are all funded entirely by user finance dollars, specifically toll revenues that are paid by the customers who use our system. In total, 42 of the over 44 miles of Turnpike Mainline that we have within the county are planned to be programmed. Many of these are already in construction. We've got 15 major projects in total, 7 in construction, 8 in design, with a total investment between active and upcoming projects of $2.3 billion in construction. These widenings will add capacity, reduce congestion, and improve safety for the traveling public. We appreciate the ongoing collaboration with both the county and our local partners. Our teams work closely together throughout both design and construction. We conduct weekly and quarterly meetings during design, and we coordinate construction activities to ensure timely incident and lane closure notifications, leveraging GPS and mapping technologies to provide timely warnings to motorists through navigation apps and services. We also provide weekly construction updates. Those are shared via our website and are shared with you as well and with your teams. We look forward to continuing this strong partnership. I think this slide is the one that has the meat of the information. So let's begin by giving you an overview of the entire widening program that we've got within the county. The map shows both active and upcoming projects. And when I say active, I mean in construction. Except for the northern 2 miles, and I will get to that in a second and explain exactly where, the entire turnpike corridor is planned to be widened. We are planning to widen to 8 lanes, starting at the Broward County line, all the way to PGA Boulevard, and to 6 lanes north of there. These projects in orange or yellow, depending on how you see the colors there, are currently in construction. So from Boynton to Lantana or Boynton to Lake Worth, and then Lake Worth all the way to Beeline, all those projects have been let and are currently in construction. The projects in green, or the areas in green, are in design and will start construction in a stepped manner. The next project to start construction goes from Glades to the L38 Canal. That construction is anticipated to start in 2027. We are actually in the middle of public comment or public hearing for this project. We just had the virtual meeting yesterday, or virtual hearing yesterday. It was very well attended. We had over 100 registrants participate. Many comments we heard from the community, and we truly appreciated the input. In 2028, the widening from State Road 710 to PGA Boulevard is anticipated to start. The following year, 2029, we'll see the start of construction in 2 locations, from the L38 Canal to Atlantic Avenue, which will complete the widening between Glades Road and Atlantic Avenue. That same year, PGA Boulevard to Indian Town, that widening will begin. The widening from Atlantic Avenue to Boynton Beach Boulevard is currently scheduled to start construction in 2031. And the last 2 miles of the county, and though the map shows a little gap there, it's just a stylistic item there just to separate the fact that the rest of it would be actually widening. The ones to the north, there is a widening project. It is in design, but it is not currently funded within the Enterprise's 5-year work program. That's from Indian Town to the Martin County line. Okay, the next series of maps. In the next series of maps, you're going to see a handful of or 2 different color lines. Purple can look like reddish to me here in this room, and yellow. Those 2 represent buffers. They are walls. The purple ones are walls within the turnpike right-of-way, and that are going to be constructed by the enterprise. Yellow ones represent buffers, walls, berms, large vegetated areas within the adjacent neighborhoods. I'm not going to go into detail on each one of those during this presentation, but I just wanted you to be able to read and follow the legend there. We encourage board members to meet with our team. We will be here after the meeting. We can certainly meet with any board member who would like additional information about those walls. Just reach out. We're here to provide all the information. I will go through each one of these maps and then just notate or highlight what improvements are being made. Starting here at the southern end of the county, from the Broward County line to Glades Road, we have an existing construction project that is adding a lane in each direction. The next project that starts at Glades and goes to the L38 Canal is the one that I mentioned earlier. That project is also going to widen to 8 lanes. We're in the active public comment period for that one. We encourage participation. We will also be at an in-person hearing today. That hearing is at the Andre Fobel Civic Center. We have brought some newsletters as well to share with you all. And I believe we've placed a few outside, and everybody should have received one by now. In partnership with the county, our projects will also widen Yamato Road between Lake Ridge Boulevard and the Turnpike from 4 to 6 lanes. Continuing up the corridor, the next project will be from the L38 Canal to Atlantic Avenue. That project, as I mentioned earlier, will start in 2029. We'll start construction then, and it will complete the widening from Glades Road to Atlantic Avenue. with also with a completion of auxiliary lanes, which will connect the Glades Road interchange to the Atlantic Avenue interchange. North of there, the next segment, Atlantic Avenue to Boynton, it just started final design, anticipating to go to 8 lanes of widening, starting construction in 2031. From Boynton Beach Boulevard to Lake Worth Road, the project has been in construction, and construction is anticipated to complete later this year. From Lake Worth Road north, you will see, you have seen very active construction from there north. From Lake Worth to Southern, we count it as one project. There is another one from Southern to Okeechobee Boulevard. Both of those are in active construction currently, anticipated completion in 2030.
Can I talk to you about that slide when we're done?
Certainly.
Yeah. We won't take up everyone's time.
When we're done or now?
No,
Either
I
way.
won't take up everyone else's time. We can just don't leave.
Sounds good. All right. From Okeechobee Boulevard to State Road 710, we've got another construction project which was recently let for construction, and it's anticipated to start construction later this year. There's currently a project at Beeline Highway, which is also constructing our bridge, Turnpike's Bridge, over State Road 710, over Beeline Highway, and widening the Turnpike main line a half a mile south and a half a mile north of Beeline Highway. North of Beeline, all the projects are in design, and up to PGA will be for 8 lanes of widening. North of PGA, 6 lanes. As we get to Indiantown Road, north of Indiantown Road, the projects are in design for 6 lanes and are not currently funded for construction. The enterprise is proposing roadside walls within the county. We're showing 2 pictures. We use either shoulder-mounted walls or walls that sit at the right-of-way line. Because of engineering constraints, most of the walls that you will see in the county will be shoulder-mounted walls, like the picture on the left. We've brought some renderings. I will speed through those, but we wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to understand what these walls would ultimately look like. All of these renderings are preliminary. They are pictures or renderings of projects that are in design. The existing conditions are on the left. The future conditions, the renderings are on the right. The first community, Boca West, is anticipated to receive a shoulder-mounted wall. Long Lake Estates as well. Again, these are just typical renderings of what the walls would look like. The existing walls, there are a handful of communities that may have existing walls, such as Waterway Subdivision. That existing wall is anticipated to remain and continue to serve as a buffer for that community. A wall is anticipated for the Canyon Trail subdivision as well, to adjacent to a lateral canal that bifurcates their existing buffer. And at the north end of the county, Palm Beach Country Estates is also anticipated to receive a wall. And lastly, I would end with our safety moment and a reminder that your choices behind the wheel affect everyone around you. With that, I'll open up the floor for any questions you may have. And I did hear one question.
Thank you. Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know, thank you for hanging with us the other night. Sorry about that. I did want to thank you for the sound walls for anyone that's been a big issue for a lot of our communities. And we very much appreciate the efforts that you're putting towards that. And I will be at the meeting tonight. We sent it out to a lot of people. I'm glad you had good turnout last night, but I'll be there in person tonight and I'll leave the rest of that for this. But I just, again, wanted to thank you and apologize for Tuesday.
No worries. We look forward to seeing you there.
Mayor Koretsky?
First, great presentation. Appreciate it. It's very beneficial for us to see these kinds of things. Hopefully you'll continue that. But two questions that I know that I get from our community. One, can you give us the status of the I-95 Turnpike crossover that's going to be done in South Martin County? Because that is of a benefit impact to, to Palm Beach County.
Certainly. I will look to you guys to help add any additional information I may be missing, but my current understanding of that is that that project is currently undergoing a PD&E study. And come on in.
Hi, good morning, James Brown. I'm the liaison administrator to Florida's Turnpike Enterprise. That project is actually scheduled to go into design fiscal year 30.
Fiscal year 30, okay, because I thought I'd seen something 6 months back or something that they finalized the location after many, many years. So I thought might have been more advanced.
Yes, we had worked through the PD&E study. They had decided on the preferred alternative. And we are now working towards moving into that next phase, which is funded for fiscal year 30.
Okay, and if any of my colleagues don't know what I asked about is to be a crossover between 95 and Turnpike without ever getting off. Because they're side by side in that area. So it's really is a benefit to commuters.
Milepost 125, Bridge Road.
Yeah.
That's the location, yeah.
Okay. And then another question, this is just general on when, again, I've been asked this, when the Turnpike borders I-95, in parallel, I know we have some residents east of I-95 that are always questioning why they don't have a sound wall. And then they've asked subsequently, gee, and when the Turnpike gets widened, there'll be more traffic. And collectively, they believe there'll be more impactive. Is that something you look at? Is the combination when you are side by side, but now the combination uniquely would be on the east side, which doesn't border the Turnpike.
Sure. So first, let me say thank you for the question. Second, I will take back the question and confirm I do not want to misspeak.
Okay.
I have looked at this area myself, and I know that the communities that are adjacent to I-95 there do have some buffers of their own. However, I will go back and confirm whether or not those noise studies include that. I do know that on the west side of the Turnpike, within the Turnpike right-of-way, we do anticipate construction there.
Yeah, you said
I
that.
appreciate,
You said that, but I just would like to be able to answer that you would still look at, there are some communities just south of Indiantown that abut I-95, and of course the Turnpike's right next to it, that don't have sound wall provisions. And so each time, and they certainly feel like noise has gotten worse and worse and worse over time.
Sure. I will take back that question and we'll make sure to provide you with a response.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions? All right, well, thank you so much for the presentation. We appreciate you all being here today. All right, next up, partner agency update. Are there any representatives for partner agencies with any updates? Staff, are there any public comments
No, Madam Chair.
on this item or the Turnpike item? No,
No,
no on the Turnpike, no on the partner agency updates. All right. So we're at the point, would any other board members have any additional items to discuss? Anything for the good of the order? Okay. So our next meeting, we do not meet in August. We're off. We don't meet as a body in August. Our next meeting is September 17th. And with that, we'll go ahead. Thank you all for being here today. We'll adjourn at 10:46.